Hey there, Mama. Welcome back to Married Moms Take Control, where we get to talk about real marriage, motherhood, and all the beautiful mess in between. So it's just after Mother's Day, and your social media feeds are probably overflowing with picture perfect posts, moms glowing with their kids, breakfast in bed trays, heartfelt cards, and captions like, feeling so blessed. But let's be honest. Maybe your Mother's Day had more tantrums than tributes, or you felt overlooked while scrolling through those flawless feeds. Sound familiar? If you're feeling a little jealous, insecure, or just less than after seeing everyone else's highlight reels, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into how inauthentic social media can hit married moms hard, especially after days like Mother's Day, when those curated posts don't tell the whole story. I'm here to validate your feelings and share 5 practical ways to stay grounded in your own truth, no matter what you see online. Because, Mama, you are enough, chaos and all. Stick around for a fun challenge and a sneak peek at our next episode. Let's do this. And before we jump into today's episode, let me tell you, I took us on a little bit of a detour. We were actually supposed to be talking about managing our emotions today, especially when it comes to communication. But after Mother's Day, I wanted to take you on this detour because I felt like it was really important, especially from what I saw online and what I know a lot of moms are going through. So let's define this. What is inauthentic social media? Well, it's when people, moms included, curate their online lives to show only the shiny, happy moments, the clean kitchen, the giggling kids, the best mom ever moments. But behind those posts, there's often chaos, stress, and the real struggles that really just don't make the cut for social media posts. So think about it. No one's posting the 3 a.m. diaper blowout or the argument with their husband about who's doing the dishes or the moment they hid in the bathroom, maybe just to catch a few minutes alone or to cry. Everyone's been through something difficult as parents. Parenting is very hard, but people don't usually post those things. And for married moms, this inauthenticity is especially hitting hard. You're already juggling the mental load, scheduling play dates, keeping the fridge stocked, maybe sneaking in a shower if you have time, if you're lucky. And then you scroll Instagram or social media, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you're looking at, and you see moms who seem to have it all together. Perfect kids, perfect marriage, the perfect lives. And it's easy to think, why can't I be like that? And that comparison trap kind of fuels the jealousy or the insecurity and even the unhappiness. There was a study, just when I was doing some research, I found a study from 2021 that showed that heavy social media use is linked to lower self-esteem in moms, with 60% reporting that they feel not good enough after scrolling. So there's a lot of research. This isn't a new topic, but here's the truth about these posts. They're just snippets. They're not the full story, right? They're curated. They're not a reflection of full real life, just parts of life. And if we can recognize that, it can free us from feeling like we're falling short. Okay. So let's talk about why this social media trap is so tough for married moms. First of all, time is not your friend. So between kids, work, household, your relationship, your marriage, you barely have any time to reflect, really have a full thought. So a lot of the times when we do have little moments, we turn to Instagram or Facebook or social media in general for a quick escape, right? But you get sucked into comparison instead. Second, Mother's Day and events like that can amp up the pressure, right? Although World's Best Mom posts can make you feel like you're falling short or you're failing, or like if your day wasn't the Hallmark perfect day, then you can't post about it. If you didn't get the right picture, if you didn't get the right present, all the things. And then third, as moms, we're wired to nurture and to compare. Am I doing enough for my kids? Did I do a good job? Will other people think I'm doing a good job? Will my kids be happy? All of those things. Thinking about your kids, your husband, all the things. So social media can really exploit that, making us question our worth. So let's not ignore the emotional toll though. When we see a mom with the spotless house and a caption like, just another day in paradise, or I'm so, lucky to have my family, while you look around and your living room might look like maybe a toy explosion, it's really natural to feel jealous or inadequate. So, but here's the kicker. That mom in that picture with the perfect house and the clean everything probably yelled at her kids to smile for that photo, or her husband maybe was a little grumpy off camera, right? We all have chaos. It's not real to just have all the good things, but the chaos is not really trending on Instagram, right? But the good news is I can teach you how to shift how you engage with social media to protect your heart, to feel more confident in your real and messy life. So before we jump into the tips that I wanted to give you, let's ground this and kind of set a foundation with 3 examples that you will relate to some extent. These are mom moments where social media's inauthenticity can mess with your head and how we can work on reframing those things. So example number 1, the perfect Mother's Day post example. So picture this, you're scrolling on Mother's Day on your Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and there's your friend, let's just give her a name, we'll call her Mary, with a glowing post. Her kids made her a card, her husband got her flowers, and they're all smiling in matching outfits. Meanwhile, your day was a blur of spilled juice, maybe a forgotten gift, maybe a snappy moment with your husband, and you feel jealous, like you're missing out. So reframe it. Mary's post is one moment, not her whole day. Maybe her kids fought this morning. Maybe she felt unappreciated today. So instead of comparing her, do something different, like text her. Send her something maybe that says, loved your post, how was your day? You might be surprised how honest she gets. Okay. Example 2, the super mom influencer example. You follow a mom influencer, for example, who's always baking organic muffins and doing crafts with her kids and looking like she just stepped out of the salon. And you're over here with the store-bought cookies, a sink full of dishes, feeling maybe like a failure. So reframe it. That influencer's life is a business. She's paid to look perfect. Her real life probably has tantrums and laundry too. So one thing you can do is unfollow or mute her for a week and just focus on one small win in your real day, like snuggling with your kids. That's what matters. Example 3, the happy couple mirage. So you see a couple's post, maybe a friend's anniversary or a random date night selfie, and they're just looking madly in love while you and your husband maybe haven't even had a real conversation in a week because you're so busy and you're so exhausted. So you feel insecure, like your marriage is falling short. So let's reframe this. That photo doesn't show the fight that maybe they had about money or the stress they're having or feeling of parenting. So instead of stewing, you could plan a 10-minute check-in with your husband to reconnect, because real love is in every day, not online, not in the pictures that people show, and not in the filters. So these examples just show how social media's curated perfection can trick us into feeling less than. But when you see through the highlighted reel, you can let go of the comparison and just embrace your own life, your own story, and what's going on in your day-to-day. So just think about it. When was the last time that you felt like you were just not enough after scrolling? And that's why we're here. Let's focus on that. Let's fix that. So all right, mamas, let's talk about our 5 practical tips to navigate inauthentic social media and to stay grounded in your truth, especially after Mother's Day and all the glow up posts. These are super quick, doable, and they're designed for you to fit into your crazy busy mom life. So tip number 1, curate your feed ruthlessly, or curate your feed intentionally, however you want to word it. But what this means is be intentional about who you follow on social media. If someone's posts make you feel a little jealous or inadequate, like the influencer with the perfect pantry, let's just focus on muting that person or unfollowing them on social media. I want you to I want you to fill your feed with real and relatable moms who share the good and the messy. These are accounts There are accounts out there posting about the spilled Cheerios and the mom fails, and I want you to find them. Go on the hunt. Find the ones that make you feel better. Or if you don't need to follow any moms at all, if that's just not what you're into, then be intentional about removing them. So, my tip for you this week is take 5 minutes and unfollow at least 3 accounts that stress you out. And then, if you feel like you want to replace them with ones that lift you up, great. And these don't necessarily have to be mom accounts. They can just be any accounts that just make you feel less than, make you feel like you should be doing something different than you're doing, but in a way that makes you feel bad about yourself. So your heart will thank you. Trust me. All right. Tip number 2, set scroll limits. Social media is a time suck, and the longer you scroll, the more you compare. So I want you to set a daily limit, even if you do, 15 minutes, and use the, you can use the app timer or the screen time settings in your phone. And I want you to fill that extra time with something that fills you up, whether it's calling a friend or reading a page or two from a book. And my tip for you would be try to do this during the day if you have a time, a little bit of time when the kids are napping or if you're in between meetings, but not at night, late at night when you're already tired and you're vulnerable maybe to comparison. So try to replace the scroll with just living and doing something that makes you feel better. So tip number 3, let's reframe the highlight reel. So when you see a quote perfect post, remind yourself this is just a snippet, not the whole story. That mom with the smiling kids, she's got chaos too. So I want you to repeat that to yourself and say, this is their highlight. This is not their real life. And even though it sounds silly to kind of say something out loud to you, it works, just that validation. And it's like a mantra of some sort, right? So for example, after seeing a Mother's Day post, just think to yourself, I bet they had tantrums too yesterday. I bet that their whole day wasn't perfect. And then I want you to think about one thing that you love about your motherhood, even if it's not the perfect. So try to reframe how you see that person's post in their day, and then try to focus on something about your day and your motherhood, maybe your motherhood relationship or journey with your kids that is positive, something that you love. And it just shifts your focus to your strengths and what's going well. Tip 4, connect offline. Social media can feel like connection with other people, but it's not the same as really talking to other people. So I encourage you to reach out to a friend or another mom, anyone that you're close to or would like to connect to, for a coffee chat or a phone call or a play date or just even quick texts. You don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but just connect with them. Ask, how's motherhood really going? Ask them how the hard days are. Tell them about your hard days. And you'll hear the unfiltered truth, the tantrums, the exhaustion, all of it. And that'll help you feel less alone, because the reality is we all like to talk about the things that are hard for us because we need to vent. And if you give yourself a chance to connect with another mom and actually talk about it, you will hear how hard life can really be for all of us. And it's not to focus on the negative, it's just to realize you're not alone. So a quick tip for you is really to intentionally set up some one-on-one real life connection this week. Like I said, even if it's just a 10-minute phone call, while you're doing laundry, while you're driving, something that helps you connect with another mom for real. Because remember, at the end of the day, connecting, talking to another mom is a lot more important, and it feels better than checking how many likes your picture or your posts got. So tip number 5, celebrate your messy wins. Social media loves perfection, but your real life is where the real magic happens. And so I want you to celebrate your small, messy victories, even if it's something like getting through the tough day or laughing with your kids over a silly moment. And I would encourage you to either in your phone or in a little journal or something, keep a, let's call it a win journal where you write one thing that you're proud of each day. Like, I handled that meltdown like a champ, or I can't believe that I had all that chaos at breakfast and I still managed to get the kids out the door on time to school. So, and you can share those with obviously with yourself if you're writing them down, but I would encourage you to share it with your husband or with a friend, with your mom, whoever you're close to. And it's not for online. This is for connecting with real people, telling real people what you're going through, the good and the bad, but it's about really focusing on building your confidence that really it's not about faking behind a filter. So those are your 5 tips, and those are 5 ways for you to break free from the social media trap and embrace your authentic, beautiful, messy life. So let's go through them really quick. Let's recap. 1, curate your feed. 2, limit the scrolling. 3, reframe the highlight reel. 4, connect offline. And 5, celebrate your messy wins. These aren't just tips, they're a reminder for you that you are enough exactly as you are. And the ripple effect is that when you let go of the comparison, you really show your kids what real confidence looks like. And that in and of itself is a gift. And it removes some of that stress and that pressure that you're putting on yourself. And that makes you nicer, more fun to be around, maybe more pleasant in your day-to-day with your kids, with your husband. And I really, really want you to try at least one of these tips this week. Maybe all you do is unfollow that one account that makes you feel just less than, or write down a messy win tonight. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have a perfect life to be an amazing mom. You are doing just fine. And if there's something that you want to do better, focus on that, make that a goal, but you are fine. If you don't get the perfect pictures and you don't have everything put together the way people do online, just remember they don't either. They just manage to get a snippet of a moment. Okay, so in the next episode, we will make our way back to talking about managing emotions during communication and how to be really in control of who you are when you talk. And that's going to be really good. So I hope that you'll stick around for that one. But before I let you go, I would really, really love to hear from you. I'd love for you to join my Facebook group. It is called Married Moms Take Control. And then my plan for following this episode is to actually, because we have, conversations in there. I'll post something, people will comment, and we get little conversations going. But this one I think is going to spark a bigger conversation, this topic of the inauthentic social media. So you won't want to miss it. I have plans for how to get this conversation going. So I hope that you will follow me there, join the group. You will be surrounded by other moms who will understand a lot of what you're going through. You'll get support from them, from me. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you next week on Married Moms Take Control. All right, thanks, ladies.